Hi there, welcome to the Color Cinema. Today we've got a little bit of review to do on three Millcreek releases, but three really good, interesting Millcreek releases. I'm not sure if this is going to be so much reviewed and ranked because I do like all three of these releases, as it is just a little dive into each of these. So first off, though, we'll start off with the one TV show that I got, and this one is on Blu-ray, and this is Up All Night, the complete series. So Up All Night was a series that was done by a Saturday Night Live writer. It actually stars Will Arnett, Christine Applegate, and Maya Rudolph. So basically, this series, and it's a different type of series. This is not your usual sitcom. Basically, Will Arnett plays a role that you're not kind of used to seeing Will Arnett play. He doesn't play a douchebag in this, and it's kind of his thing. He's either the kind of the clueless guy most of the time, or he's the douchey guy most of the time. But Will Arnett plays a husband that's suddenly, like, basically he's his wife, Christine Applegate, works, she's got a powerful job. She works outside the home. She's got a talk show. They've got a new baby. They have their first baby, and he's starting to deal with actually working from home for the very first time, and having a baby, doing the whole, basically everything. And it's a bit insane. She's getting used to the fact that she's now a mom, and she has to juggle her work life and her home life, and just the fact that they are people that were career-minded people that have kind of a different goal set, and all of a sudden there's this little life that kind of changes everything, and they don't do everything correctly. This is not a sitcom in the way you think of, like a ha-ha laugh track type of sitcom. This is definitely a smarter show. Now, it does switch up in the second season. There are 2 seasons of Up All Night. Unfortunately, the show only lasted for 2 seasons. I kind of see why they did a big change in the second season. Basically, they kind of flipped the script on what they do. We lose one of the cast members that comes into the first season because it's a necessity, because of the show itself does change up. Now, that being said, this is a fantastic show. I think it's like 24 episodes in the first season, only 11 in the second. But all in all, you get the complete series here. This was produced, of course, by Lauren Michaels, so you can expect to see some Saturday Night alumni show up in this here. We got Molly Shannon showing up in this one, and she got her own show now, a new show come out where she's kind of like co-starring, and I saw that on a preview the other night. But there's a bunch of people in this, and it's really well done. I actually really liked Up All Night. I hadn't seen the show when it initially came on, so watching it now was kind of a different thing for me. It was a bit of a revelation. Some people didn't like Maya Rudolph because they thought that the Will Arnett and the Christine Applegate characters were extremely grounded, whereas Maya Rudolph's character seemed more like a sitcom-y type of character, like you would have seen back in the old days. I don't completely agree, but I can see what they're saying when they do that. She's definitely a shift, but I think her shift is kind of fun, and I'm not sure if it's needed, but I enjoyed it. Either way, Up All Night was a really cool little sitcom. I definitely recommend it. This is one of these things that I think flew under the radar for a lot of people, and unfortunately, they didn't get to see it. If you have seen the series and you like it or you don't like whatever, let me know in the comment section down below, because I would really like to know what you thought of this, because this is a very different sitcom, and I enjoyed the way it was done. Now, the 2 other things they came out with were continuations of their Through the Decades releases. So early on in this year, I think it was in January, I showed you guys the Through the Decades, the 60 set, and Through the Decades, the 70 set, where we had a bunch of movies put on like 4 to 5 discs is usually what it was. And at the time, I looked over at my cousin and I said, I hope they do an 80s one. So they did. So we got a Through the Decades for the 80s. This is a 10-film set. It is done on 4 discs, usually with around like 2 to 3 films on a disc. Not bad. So you're not getting like a lot of compression. It's not like, say, like 5 or 6 films on a disc. We got like Father Like Son with Dudley Moore, Kirk Cameron, and Sean Astin, which is a fun little film. Vice Versa, which is a better version of that type of film, with Judge Reinhold, Fred Savage, and Swoozie Kurtz. I actually really like that film. I saw that initially in the theater when I was a kid. Roxanne, another fantastic film, basically a comedic version of Cyrano de Bergerac, starring Steve Martin, Daryl Hannah, and Shelley Duvall. We have Punchline with Sally Field, Tom Hanks, and John Goodman. Although you say Punchline, this is not a comedy. Who's Harry Crumb, which is a John Candy film, which has Jeffrey Johns in it, Jones, which is a bit problematic now, but you didn't know back then, right? And the great Annie Potts, who I think is underrated in absolutely everything that she does. I did like the film because I just like John Candy overall. It's not an Uncle Buck, but it's still a fun little film. Blue Thunder is a cool little action film with Roy Schneider, Warren Oates, and Candy Clark. And who doesn't want? Look at that cast: Roy Schneider, Warren Oates, and Candy Clark. That is a fantastic cast to start with. And it's much like remember Airwolf, the series Airwolf. So this is kind of like that. Airwolf is a movie too, but it's a theatrical film. Yeah, this also became a TV series, by the way. Suspect with Cher, Dennis Quaid, and Liam Neeson is an incredible film. Band of the Hand, I really like this one. It's it's an action film. It's one I saw when I was a teenager, and it really stuck with me. Stephen Lang, the incomparable James Remar, and Lauren Holly, who I had a super crush on when I was younger. Little Nikita, Sidney Poitier, River Phoenix, and Richard Bradford. Again, an excellent little film. And one of my favorites on here is The New Kids with Shannon Presby, Lori Loughlin, and James Spader. James Spader had done 2 movies around the same time, The New Kids and Tough Turf. It was kind of, you weren't quite sure if James Spader should be playing a good guy or a bad guy. So in The New Kids, he plays a despicable bad guy and does a great job of it. And in Tough Turf, he played the really likable good guy. I didn't help in deciding what James Spader should play because you found out pretty quickly on James Spader can do it all. And they didn't just give the through the decades 80s. No, there is a through the decades 90s. And this is a decade that I was initially problematic with. I'm an 80s kid. So when the 90s came around and he switched things up, but I wasn't quite sure if I liked the 90s or not. It's taken me a few years to kind of grow into my like of the 90s. So what do we got here? Honestly, a lot of good stuff. We have House Sitter with Steve Martin, Goldie Hawn, and Dana Delaney. Anything Dana Delaney, man. We got The Matchmaker with Jeanine Garofalo, David O'Hara, and Michael O'Shea. I'm a big fan of Jeanine Garofalo. I always have been. Had a big crush on her. White Palace with Susan Sarandon, James Spader. Again, he's going through the decades. And Jason Alexander. Again, another film I like. One True Thing. Meryl Streep, Renee Zellweger, William Hurt. Interesting little film. Not completely my type, but it's one of those that I can watch. It's not a bad film. It's super dramatic. Donnie Brasco, I really love this film. Johnny Depp, Al Pacino, and Michael Madsen. I just really, really enjoyed this film. Devil's Own is another one I really like with Harrison Ford, Brad Pitt, and Margaret Cullen. The Freshman, I go back and forth on this one. Marlon Brando, Matthew Broderick, and Bruno Kirby. It's not one of my favorites, but there's enough on here to make this worth it, man. Next up, we got Anaconda with Jennifer Lopez, Ice Cube, and John Voight. And I love me some Anaconda, especially the original film. I Know What You Did Last Summer with Jennifer Love Hewitt, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Ryan Philippe. Again, one of the true greats of the 90s slasher boom. Not quite as good as Urban Legend or Scream, but still definitely one of the ones that I go back to and watch over and over again. And The Deep End of the Ocean with Michelle Pfeiffer, Treat Williams, and Whoopi Goldberg. And again, it's definitely an interesting one. We got some more dramatic titles than we have on the first one. But that being said, none of these are bad films. These are all good films that are worth the deep dive. Now, for me, it's movies like House Sitter, Matchmaker, Donnie Brasco, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Anaconda, and White Palace that I go towards. Those are the films that really kind of stick out to me. So these are the 3 releases that I got for this portion of the month for April. I haven't got any news on anything else quite yet. And when I do, I'll let you guys know right away. But I definitely recommend these through the 80s releases, through the decades releases. There's 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. I hope they continue with these. And I'd love to see them do some earlier ones. I'd love to see maybe like a 50s one, or maybe like a pre-code through the decade pre-code era. And that'd be kind of cool, right? To get like 20s or 30s or 30s, 40s type of thing. And more shows like this, please. More shows that flew under the radar. 3 great releases that I think you should all pick up. So here you go, guys. 3 amazing Millcreek releases. There's a little bit here for everyone. You like horror. There's some horror here. You like action. There's some action here. You like drama. There's lots of drama here. You like really different situational comedy that's done in a more unique aspect. And I say that in a truly way, like as I really like that. Anyway, I'm Aaron. What did you think? Let me know what you think. Did you pick up these three? Are you picking up any of these? Let me know in the comment section down below. My name is Aaron. Thank you for joining me today here in the Cult of Cinema. I will see you soon right here again. Remember, there is always another movie out there, but there is only one you. So be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and check out some of these films. See you soon.